Let's go over some Spurs news and then let's have a fan episode. Let's hear what fans are saying about the end of the Spurs season.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on, Locked On Spurs fans? I am Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio, and I am glad to have y'all back. You guys are the everydayers. Keep on subscribing. YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus app, Spotify, iTunes, the list goes on and on. And yeah, we got a good show for you today. We're going to be just quickly discussing some Spurs news just to catch you up. It is the offseason. Maybe you missed some things. And then bringing our guest. Actually, it's going to be a fan episode. That's right. One of the episodes where we bring in a fan to rep the fan base on several topics that are on the minds of the Spurs fans. And it'll be Chris Leija. So he'll be representing you guys. That's coming up next on Locked On Spurs. But first, let's catch up with some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. First one up is, well, I think everybody heard about this by now. Jeremy Sochan. In case you missed it, Sochan took an Uber driver, hired an Uber driver for a quick ride. And the Uber driver said that Sochan gave him a $200 tip on an $8 ride. Yeah, Sochan apparently told the driver, Jesse Casas, I should say, that keep the tip, enjoy it, and go provide for your family. Go buy them some sneakers. Funny little note though is that the driver, Casas, said that his son got a little jealous that he got to meet him and didn't get an autograph of Sochan. But hey, kids will be kids. Nevertheless, Jesse Casas was very grateful for the generosity from Sochan. You can check that out, that article at kens5.com/Spurs. In other Spurs news, this should be hanging in the Louvre. If you missed it, a Sports Illustrated out of France, well, she created a Victor Wembanyama rookie season, I guess, montage, but in a Renaissance painting themed approach. She used Photoshop, and according to her, over 300 layers in Photoshop. I don't know what that means. I never dabbled with that, but it took about 150 hours to put it together. So just think of those Renaissance paintings that you would see in a museum, and it's all Wemby. He's in different action poses. They show him looking at himself, and they're like touching. It's kind of like some sort of out of a museum. It is phenomenal. You should go check it out. She also does a lot more work regarding with Photoshop and Sports Illustration. She has one with Wemby being a king with the crown and everything. It's a very, very interesting photo. Go check it out at kens5.com/Spurs. In other Spurs news, with the draft lottery being the next big event for the Spurs, aside from Wemby getting the Rookie of the Year award, we know that's coming up, but is draft lottery. So many are wondering, like, what are the Spurs odds? They did kind of finish the season strong, winning 6 out of 10. How much did that impact their lottery odds? Well, it did. They are not part of the top 3 worst teams with equal amount of chances to land in the number 1. That went to Detroit, Washington, and Portland. Spurs landed with the 5th best odds of getting number 1 at 10.5%. Being realistic, though, the odds say that the Spurs' best shot is landing at number 6 with 24.6%, following at number 7 with 16.4% odds. So it looks like the Spurs will be out of the top 30, but they will have a top 10 pick. Look, crazier things have happened in the NBA draft. Look, the Spurs weren't even projected to get the number 1 pick than the Wemby draft, and look what happened. They got the number 1 pick, so you don't know what could happen, but the odds are showing that they're strongly going to not finish with the number 1 pick. Also, even though that, they could still get another one depending on how Toronto lines up. Toronto right now has the 6th best odds at getting the number 1 pick with 9.0% winning odds of winning the top pick. Again, remember that's top 6 protected. So they fall within 1 through 6. Spurs are out of luck. So we shall see. So those are your updated Spurs lottery odds. All right, there's your quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to bring Chris Leija. Now, just heads up, it is an audio interview only. So unfortunately, he can only do audio. He was at work. So, we here at Locked On Spurs accommodate the guest. And he's going to be discussing several topics regarding the Spurs fan base with the season over, from the 22-win season, Wemby's overall performance, and an interview I had with Tre Jones and what he had to say for the fans We're going to get Leija's reaction to that and what is he seeing from the Spurs fan base regarding what Tre Jones had to say to me. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk about Monopoly Go. Look, sometimes I can be a little competitive. I've been told I could be a competitive person. I don't know if that's true, but if you think it's true, let me know. Okay, fine. Sometimes I do have a little competitive side. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play not on one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. And the best part is you're just having fun with your friends. You're just messing with friends and you're having a good time. You can charge them rent on iconic properties, just like in classic Monopoly. You can also heist their vaults of their riches for yourself. And you'll be able to see the leaderboards to show who is the biggest Monopoly tycoon out there. It is a fun game. Go download it right now. But it's not just the competitive sides that you'll love. You can team up with friends around the world, take part in time tournaments, earn huge rewards. Get in on the game right now. That's Monopoly Go. Join your friends, meet new friends, have some fun. Download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're now joined by our favorite fan guest, one of our many favorite fan guests. He is Chris Leija of MCS General Contracting. He is back to rep the Spurs fan base on this fan episode of Locked On Spurs. Follow him on X at CLeija3. Chris, welcome back, buddy.
What's going on, Jeff? Thank you for having me on again, man. Appreciate it.
Hopefully,
hopefully I keep it clean since we're.
You always keep it clean, man. You always keep it clean. Look, the dust has settled. The season's over. You should be okay by now, right?
I mean, I guess in a sense, I kind of gave up midway through the season, so I think by now, I think all my anger is gone.
Well, anyway, for those of y'all who do not know, a fan episode is where we bring it on a fan. And, I wish we could bring on the fans at one shot. Well, we can't. So Leija, he's going to rep the Spurs fan base on their thoughts on a couple topics. And he'll throw in his personal thoughts as well. And if he's right, if this is what y'all are thinking about, fans collectively, let him know on X at CLeija3. Make sure you follow him and chat with him right now. So, Chris, and by the way, everybody, we'll be talking about MCS General Contracting later on in the show. So if you need some concrete and much more to be done, Chris is your guy.
That's right.
But
That's right.
Yeah, Leija. So season's over. We are just in the beginning stages of the offseason. It'll be a while before the Spurs play some ball. But looking back at the season, let's start off with the obvious. Wemby. Just what more can be said? I got to the point, Chris, where I was like, another great Wemby performance, shattering records. Okay, it's just another day. It got to that point. What were your thoughts and what were the fans' thoughts on Wemby's rookie season?
So for me personally, man, I feel like he exceeded expectations for me. We all knew that he was going to be this generational talent. We just weren't sure with the team around him what was he going to do on the court. But man, like you said, there was nights where you're watching and you're like, oh, look at that, a new one for Wemby, a new one for the league, because he was doing things that we hadn't seen before. This rookie season, man, in my opinion, deserves Defensive Player of the Year. But that's just me. I know a lot of people are in the media are always like, oh no, well, it's a team, team thing and whatnot. No, it's an individual award. For me, man, obviously Rookie of the Year. Man, I was hoping he would get a quadruple double this season because he was close. He was close, and I was kind of bummed out that they set him out that last game of the season against the Pistons because that was where the team he got his first triple double against. What was it, in January, I believe. So I was hoping if he plays, he might be able to get a quadruple double. But the Spurs sat him, which is understandable to an extent because he has the Olympics coming up in the summer, so he's getting ready for that. But man, just everything he was doing, those step back threes, these absurd dunks where one dunk he had his leg up and it dang near hit the rim. Having three three offensive players driving on the paint, and each one's passing the ball away from each other because they just don't want to get into the paint when it comes to Wemby. I mean, just overall, he was just something else. And I think that resonates with a lot of fans. A lot of fans were, at the end of the season, were just super excited. They're super excited for the future. Obviously, you have fans that are team, let's bring in some players and let's not wait any longer. Obviously, if that were to happen, I think Wemby's game just elevates to a whole nother level if they do make these moves. But yeah, man, overall, I mean, I think everybody is just excited for the future of the Spurs simply because we have Wemby. And of course, you have these pieces around him that towards the end of the season started showing these flashes of hey, man, this chemistry is starting to pick up a little bit. Obviously, some people still want another, all-star caliber player on the team. So we'll have to wait to see what happens. Obviously, we got to wait for the lottery to happen first, in my opinion, and then start thinking about, okay, what can the Spurs do if they can do anything with the picks they land. So, but yeah, man, overall, I think we're all happy, and we're ready for next season. It's gonna be a long off season for sure.
Yeah, for example, yeah, it will be. But as far as Wemby year one, but again, what more can you say? Shattering records, obviously the rookie of the year. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt.
But you look at his season, it was maybe just one lull where it looks like he hit the rookie wall.
Right.
And then that was it. And then he just took over from that point on. The game versus Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis, that was great. What he did versus the Knicks, and what's his name? Jalen Brunson, going off for 62, but still, Wemby, doing his thing. It was just an awesome, awesome season. There's no doubt he's living up to the generational tag. Fans know it. Sure. Leija knows that. And to think, he said to close the season, Leija, that he's only at 15% power. What are your thoughts?
Remember that scene in Avengers where the Hulk says it's over. You guys are so screwed now. I mean, if this is what we got, and he's thinking this, he's telling us, hey, this isn't even me at 100%. I mean, it's over for the league. I saw a thing earlier today where they were mentioning, the Spurs winning in 29 and 30 and then 32, the championship. And I'm like, man, I don't think it's going to take that long if the right pieces are put around Wemby. If they bring in the right pieces, I think, Wemby starts, exploding even more. Maybe a few years, it may not be 2030, it may be sooner, but man, it's just scary to think that we haven't even, this is the worst Wemby version we're going to see. This rookie season was his worst version. That's scary.
It's amazing. It's a shame that it looks like all signs are pointing to that he will not win the Defensive Player of the Year. But I've said it on Locked On Spurs before. Historians in the future will look back at Wemby's rookie year and be like, how did he not get it?
Yeah.
It's like Tim Duncan. How did he never get Defensive Player of the Year? How did that never happen? It's a travesty.
Has something against Tim Duncan, I guess, man, because they robbed him of a quadruple double as well in the playoffs. So, I don't think he'll do that with Wemby.
Wemby was close, man. Wemby got super close to a quad dub. I actually saying, Chris, I think he'll be the first NBA player to get multiple quad dubs. I think that's going to happen. Yeah.
If next season, if it's the same squad and you add, a draft pick and the chemistry's there, the biggest reason I think Wemby didn't get more triple doubles, it wasn't the rebounds, it wasn't the points. It was either the assists or the blocks. Now, you get him a good shooter around him, and those assists are going to go up. So, he can – I'm not saying he will average a triple-double. Maybe he can. But it opens up the possibility for that quadruple-double because he can get 10 blocks. Now, can he get those 10 assists as well in the game? If he has a shooter around him, man, like you said, we might see, Wemby get one a year, maybe two a year. Who knows? I mean, the sky's the limit for this man, to be honest, because he is just out of this world.
For sure.
He's out of this world.
So I'm assuming, Leija, the fans are thumbs up when it comes to Wemby year one.
Man, 2 thumbs up. If we can give 3
thumbs up,
we would.
Yeah, 3. The toes too. Put the toe thumbs up too.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
All
overall, the fans are ecstatic, man, and they're happy to see. Obviously, like you said, he hit that rookie wall, but then he broke through it like Juggernaut. So, no big deal. And he proved he is the rookie of the year.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, that was probably the shortest segment there. I don't think we really get the pulse of the fan base when it comes to Wemby's rookie year. I think everybody was like A plus 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 plus. But
Yeah, for sure.
let's transition into the other topic here we're going to discuss with you about the fans' thoughts, your thoughts, is the team record. Now, they were on pace to get the worst record in franchise history. They didn't do that. They avoided that disaster. They ended up with 22 wins on the season. You look back at the team record, the team play, and we'll talk about how they ended the season in just a few minutes. But overall, I don't think Spurs fans were expecting a 22-win season, were they?
No, definitely not. I think the only Spurs fan that I know that was expecting this, maybe it'd be Rudy Campos. Because that man called Vegas it before
too.
The season.
And Vegas.
Yeah. It's a shame that all we got was 22 wins. Because obviously it matches last season's record. And it's crazy to say that because you added a talent like Wemby, but the team that we had after the draft is the same team we had this season. And that team only got 8 wins last year. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, they won 14 more games, But, yeah, definitely the fans, overall, even fans that want to be optimistic about this team, and, they have their fan favorites. I think everybody was hoping, for more wins, whether that be 30, 32, they were in a lot of games where they were close. They just couldn't close them out, because they're such a young team, they couldn't close these games out. So who knows? I mean, maybe this same team next year can win 30, 32, 33. If you obviously bring in a veteran or two and they can win more, great. But yeah, I think overall, man, 22 wins is a tough pill to swallow, as they say, because you added Wemby and we just, we're hoping for a better record. But it is what it is. The season's over. What else can we do about it now? We just brush it off and move on to the off season.
It's funny because on Ken's 5 ahead of the season, we did a roundtable and everybody had it flip-flopped. We had the Spurs winning upwards of 30, like hovering around 35. And we had Wembanyama with a soft double-double, like 15, 18 points, 9, 10 rebounds. We had it backwards. So Wemby just destroyed our prediction on that, his individual stat, and we went too high on the Spurs record. But speaking of the Spurs record, 22 wins. They had an 18-game losing skid. It was about 40-plus days. They went 40-plus days without a win during the season.
That was rough. I remember that. That was rough for Spurs Twitter. I'll tell you that much. I'm sure you can remember. Those were not fun days.
Yeah. Fireworks flying every single day. But
yes, sir.
You look back at the season and the 22 wins and, sure, there's you are who you are when it comes to your record. Right. That's what they say. But do you think the Spurs fans, I know they didn't expect a 22-win season. I mean, heck, the Spurs didn't predict it either because on media day, they were all like, we're going to get wins, baby. It's all about wins. And it came up short. How disappointed were Spurs fans? I mean, did it ever get to the point where maybe some fans were just like, you know what, I'm done with this team?
There was a good percentage of fans that, I mean, no matter what, as Spurs fans, we're going to support the team, right? And we're just going to support them in different ways. But there was a group of fans that, I mean, like me personally, like I said, come January, February, I was like, man, you know what? It is what it is. I don't see us winning, too many more games. But what's the point of getting all riled up for? And there was other fans that were the same way. Some of us kind of took a step back and said, let's just see if we can see spurts of these teams, players doing more, whether they're improving on their offensive game or defensive game. Can we see these players grow? Whether we're winning or not, can the team, get better? Other fans just, there was nothing that they could be optimistic about except Wemby, obviously. Yeah. No matter what, at the end of the day, Wemby kept, Spurs fans happy. But 22 wins, like you said, it just wasn't expected for a lot of us. Me personally, before the season started, I made my bets, and obviously not a single one hit. And the only one I had alive was Defensive Player of the Year, and that's not even going to hit for Wemby. But just nobody expected it to be this low, when it came to the win column.
Yeah.
Like you said, 30, 32, in the range from 30 to 35 where most fans were, for the most part, and then us crazy fans that were hoping that Wemby was going to be so great that it would carry the rest of the team. We're looking at 35 to 42 wins, but I don't think many fans expected it to be 22 again. If it had been 28, okay, you'd see some improvement on the win column, but 22 wins was rough. But what more can we do, and like I said, some fans just kind of gave up and were like, all right, let's just watch, obviously keep supporting the team. And if we win, great. If we lose, we went through 18 games straight of not winning. So
yeah, exactly.
I think that was the lowest of lows, obviously for the fans and for the team. So we got past that. So, after that, it was kind of like, hey, let's just ride with the team. And when we win, let's celebrate and be happy. And when we lose, let's look at what was the reason why they lost. And, like I said, a lot of it had to do with the team being so young. But, it is what it is.
Exactly. He is Chris Leija. Make sure to follow him on X at CLeija3. He is also with MCS General Contracting. He'll brag about his business in just a few minutes. Hey, when we get back, we're not done with Chris. He's going to give us the pulse of the fan base when it comes to what Tre Jones had to say with me regarding the end of the season and about the new season. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, it's playoff time in the NBA, NHL, baseball's in full swing. FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Yeah, I want to talk to you about FanDuel, everybody. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. Okay, sure, Spurs are not in the play-in tournament of the playoffs, but that doesn't mean you can still have fun with the NBA and the playoffs by going to FanDuel. You want to download it right now, get it on your favorite mobile device, cell phone, computer, whatever you got to do, go sign up right now at FanDuel. Look, again, you can bet on everything, parlays, over-unders. Seriously, they got so much you could do at FanDuel. It is why it is America's #1 sports book. Bet on everything, everyone. Go visit FanDuel.com. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn right now to make your first bet an automatic win. Again, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And we're back with Chris Leija of MCS General Contracting. Follow him on X at CLeija3, and he is the fan rep on this fan episode. He is discussing his personal thoughts on the Spurs season, as well as giving us the pulse of the San Antonio Spurs fan base regarding a few topics. Now, we talked about Wemby, we talked about the record, 22 wins, and now it's time to talk about the future, Leija. So during the exit interviews, I had a chance to talk to Tre Jones about the end of the season and looking ahead. And he said, look, he told me that he felt that the Spurs gave the fan base a sneak peek at what is to come next season. They won 6 of the last 10 games. They ended the season on a 2-game winning streak. They took Philly to double overtime, loss, but nevertheless, that was some effort there. They beat the Nuggets in dramatic fashion. Before we talk about some numbers I'm going to throw at you in a few minutes, what did you think about how the Spurs ended the season? What did fans think about that? And are you buying or selling what Tre Jones had to say?
Man, end of the season was something else. And it's crazy to think that the team ended with, winning 2 games to end the season in a row and they ended above 500 in the last 10 games. And this was without Keldon, Vassell, and Sohan. And I joked on Twitter and I put the tweet out there and, man, fans came at me. There were sides that, got the joke and sides that didn't get the joke. But I said trade all 3. Obviously, we're playing better without them, Mm-hmm. And obviously, people need to calm down and understand. Twitter sometimes is just for fun. But, yeah, it was crazy to see, Mamu step up and show you these great moments throughout the games. Brandon had a couple moments in certain games where you were like, oh wow, and people were asking why were these guys not getting minutes at the start of the season. And this is one of the reasons why me personally, when I think of next season and I think of the future, and I look at the draft picks that we have coming, I'm like, how many more players can we draft and keep taking away minutes from other guys? Or the new draft picks won't get minutes because we have to give it to somebody else. But overall, man, with the last 10 games of the season and the way the Spurs ended, I think Spurs fans collectively were happy, were excited. They saw this team, go into certain games and, we beat the defending champs, second to last game of the season. That's a pretty big deal because we knocked them out from number 1 to number 3 in the standings. And it showed. Look at these guys. They have that fight in them. They have that dog, as they say, in them. And it doesn't matter who it is. They're gonna go out there and leave it all on the court. So overall, man, fans were just happy. I was happy. Ending with a 2-game winning streak because you end the season on a high. And you want to take that energy into the following season. Whether or not these last 10 games translates into what to expect for next season, obviously we got to wait and see what players we bring in the draft, if the team does any trades whatsoever. If they don't, okay, we obviously know they definitely want to stick with these guys. But yeah, man, it was a great ending to the season. Obviously because of the way the season started, when we did get those back-to-back wins in Phoenix, and we thought, man, this is, we're gonna take over. It's gonna be, this season's gonna take off, and then we hit that 18-game losing streak. End the season the way we did, it showed a lot of maturity and it showed a lot of growth in the team itself, because they were able to improve throughout the entire season. All players, slowly but surely improved throughout the entire season. Not just Wemby. It was Vassell, it was Jeremy, it was Keldon. They all had, obviously they all had games where they had some bad games, but for the most part, they were pretty consistent throughout the season, and they were able to get better. So yeah, man. I'm excited to see what happens next year. Hopefully, it's not 22 wins again. Hopefully, we can get upwards of 30. But yeah, overall, fans were happy to see the team, end the season the way they did. It shows a lot of promise in these younger guys, and we just got to wait and see and see what happens this offseason and prepare for next year.
Well, if there is some food for thought, and as far as Chris, the team getting better, I have some numbers here for you, and we'll get your thoughts on this. Now, I looked at the Spurs before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break. So before the All-Star break, their defensive rating was 117.5. After the All-Star break, 111.8. So they got a little better there. Interesting, though, in clutch situations before the All-Star break, they were averaging about 6.9 points in the clutch, and that was about a minus 2.5. So they were still in it, but, just not enough to get over the hump. Now, after the All-Star break, they got better to close games. They averaged in clutch situations now 9.3 points and had a 0.8 plus minus. So they were really going to the tooth and nail to fight for a win in close games. Again, a sign of maturity for this Spurs team. So you see that there. Now, there's stuff to still work on, of course. The turnover issue was a big problem all season long. Yeah. And even for Wemby, he had a lot of turnovers as well. But so I'm assuming if Spurs fans, would you go into let's say Spurs fans will buy what Tre Jones is saying?
I think some will, and some will still be kind of hesitant because, like we said, at the start of the season, before the season started, all we heard was we're all about winning, and we didn't really see that at the start of the season. So I think you're going to have some fans that are going to buy that because of the way the season ended, and some that are going to be kind of hesitant to buy because they want to wait and see what happens. So me personally, I'm going to stay in the middle for right now, and I'm not going to say buy or sell. I'm just going to say, you know what, they ended the season on a good note. Let's, stay somewhat positive here, and let's just wait and see what happens. If the team does something great, if it doesn't, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be too happy about it, but what more can I do besides get mad on Twitter, and shoot out a tweet or two about how upset I am. But it's not like I'm gonna change Brian Wright's mind, RC's mind, or Pop's mind. I'm just gonna have to write it out. Obviously for me, this is these last 6 years are definitely new territory for me as a Spurs fan, just because I grew up watching nothing but greatness for 20 straight years. I didn't. I'm not of the age of seeing Robinson come in his rookie season. I caught the tail end of his career. So, and obviously for him, it was great times. So all I know as a Spurs fan, for the most part of my life is greatness. So these last 6 years definitely have been something new for me, to see this team progressively get worse. And then obviously now we're hoping to trend upwards now that we have Wemby after his first year, is complete. So for me personally, I'm just gonna wait and see, and we'll see what kind of bets I make this summer once we make some moves or don't make moves.
Wait, I'm a little stunned that you said that Brian Wright and Pop don't listen to you. I'm a little taken aback by that.
Man, if they did, I don't know, man. I don't know what kind of team we would have.
Flipping everybody, trading everybody.
I tell you what, you know who I'm going to trade first. I'm going to be getting rid of Zach Collins. That's the first guy I'm getting rid of.
I knew that was
and
coming.
I'm just saying, I'll take a bag of hot Cheetos for him. That's it. I'm not asking for a whole lot.
Look at that.
In the second round, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, throw in the second rounder. Yeah, he is Chris Leija with MCS General Contracting. Hey, I want you to brag about MCS. Why does San Antonio need to hire you guys? What is it all about? Tell us about MCS.
And if you want the best concrete work in the city, you give us a call. That you want great quality work, you want it to be done right the first time, and obviously you have to understand when you get a price from us, it's not going to be the lowest and it's not going to be the highest. But what I can promise is that we're going to show up and show out and get things done, because we have that diamond hard concrete for a reason, and we're expanding a little bit more now. We're getting more and more work, and we're growing here upwards of San Antonio, heading into Bernie and Bulverde. So we're picking up work more and more every day. And, man, I'm just excited because more work, more money to gamble for the first season, more Spurs games next year. It's going to be a grueling summer, because I can already tell it's going to be hot as it was last year, and we're going to be, out here working hard. But, definitely if you guys need any concrete work whatsoever, whether it's residential or commercial, you guys can follow us on Twitter or the X at MCS_GC, or check us out on Instagram as well. Get a view of what we can do, and we're always here to help. I always tell people, even if I don't land the job with you, if you need somebody to come inspect and double check, what the other contractor is doing, I do not mind whatsoever showing up and giving you a different set of eyes on that job to make sure you're getting your money's worth. Because when you're putting money into your home, you want to make sure it's done right. So absolutely. Again, follow him on X at CLeija3. And from there, you'll see all the links to MCS General Contracting. Chris, thank you once again for repping the fan base. Yeah, not a problem. Hey, everybody, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Leija? Did he rep the fan base well? Let him know on X at CLeija3. Let me know by following Locked On Spurs on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, Google, or search, I should say, Locked On Spurs on YouTube, and you'll find it. Subscribe to us wherever you get your favorite podcast and so all that good stuff. Y'all know the drill. We'll be back tomorrow with some more silver and black talk right here on Locked On Spurs. Off season is here. Doesn't mean that we're taking a break. So for Chris Leija, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.